What's up, guys? It's Drifts and Lifts here. Alright, so today I'm just going to be kind of filming what a couple things that we're doing. So we got Turbo Scott's Miss Puff rolling up in my driveway. This driveway has a lot of 740s in it, and they're all manual and they all drift, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm just prepping Miss Huff for the Drift Union Invitational this weekend. So as you guys know, I've mentioned in a couple of the previous videos that this weekend we're going up to the Drift Union Invitational. That's at Penticton Speedway here in Penticton, British Columbia, Canada. So it's basically the biggest event of the season. It is a team tandem competition. There's a $2,000 cash prize. Pretty big deal. A lot of teams come from all over the place, like Calgary in the States and Washington. I believe the Villains are coming. Not too sure on that. Don't quote me on it. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal. Unfortunately, I couldn't get my Cummins tranny done yet, so I'm not going to have that ready before the weekend. So I'm actually going to have to drive Miss Huff up. So more or less, I'm just doing a bunch of quick checkups over everything. It's going to have a lot of abuse this weekend, so I want to make sure everything is in tip-top shape. So me and Scott actually, not too long ago, a couple weeks ago now, we put a new clutch in this. My throat bearing, what was the deal? I had a new throat bearing, a new clutch kit, and there was a reason that we had to take the
throat bearing noise, I believe.
Yeah, it was making a pretty bad throat bearing noise, so I just wanted to replace that before it kind of exploded. And the throat bearing was in pretty bad shape, so we put a new clutch kit that I actually had laying around. It's a stock Satch's clutch kit, which honestly isn't a bad thing. This car, it's going to save the drive line, it's going to save my axles and stuff when I run a stock clutch rather than a really aggressive six-puck. Anyway, so when we were doing that, I didn't have Loctite on me at the time, and you know, I was like, it should be fine, right? I cranked them in there pretty good, they're nice and tight. But then after I started thinking about it, and I was reading horror stories on the internet of other people that, you know, didn't put Loctite in and the pressure plate bolt fell out while they were driving, and you know, just bad stuff like that. So I got a little sketched out. I wanted to check that. I got myself some red Loctite, and instead of pulling the transmission, I was all scared that me and Scott were going to have to pull this transmission for the 4th time. But I'll show you guys this, a little quick sneak peek. So if we crawl up under here, I'll get my phone light out so you can see. But basically, I'm actually going in where the clutch fork is. So as you can see, you can get to all the pressure plate bolts perfectly. I have a socket on that one. So yeah, which is really cool. I don't have to pull the tranny. The only problem is when you pull them out, you got to be really careful that you don't drop them down in the bell housing. If you do, I would recommend getting a magnet tool, which I don't have. So I'm just being really careful right now. We're on number 3 out of 6. So yeah. Also, when I was under here, I found that my slave cylinder is leaking pretty bad. So I'm gonna have to replace that before the event. Scott was actually pressing on the clutch pedal while I was down here looking at it, and there was a bunch of oil leaking out, which is pretty sketchy, a bunch of brake fluid. So I'm gonna have to replace that. I called Lordco, and new ones are $187, which is pretty aggressive. I do have a spare slave attached to one of the trannies in my pile of trannies over here. So I might be able to use that, but the only problem is that one is actually seized into the bell housing. Maybe with a little messing around we can get that out and I can reuse that one. It's probably the best idea to go with a brand new slave though. If I want this car to be reliable, no problems, that kind of thing. Alright, so the cool thing about this video is my good friend Josh Collin. He came down from Australia, and Josh actually ended up buying a couple Volvos last time he was down. Him and Nikita went back to Australia for a year and a half, and they're down for vacation for 2 months. We were looking around for Volvos for him, and the only one that was up for sale was actually, you guys may remember it, but it's my Old Wagon that I had, I forget, I think it was like winter 2016 I had that, or winter 2017. It was a great turbo manual wagon, pretty clapped out, high kilometers and stuff. So Josh actually picked that up for $800, not a bad deal, pretty fair, it still runs good. We put a boost controller in it, a bunch of little things, and Josh is actually on the road. He is cruising around right now. So we're gonna link up with Josh after we do a couple things on Miss Huff, and we'll probably check out that wagon, see what kind of condition it's in, because it's been a while since you guys have seen that wagon. It's kind of cool that it came back into the family. Always like to see that. Get as many 740s around as we can into the scene, and yeah, that's pretty much what we're working with. So me and Scott are going to continue messing with Miss Huff here, and I'm going to try to put a new slave cylinder on. I'm going to see if I can get it unseized from the bell housing over there, and we're going to finish off putting Loctite on all my pressure plate bolts. Yeah, and then maybe we'll go for a rip or something. We'll see how it goes. Fuck, yeah, so while I was doing that on my car, Scott was diddling around in my garage, and he just pulled out one of my spoilers and thought it was his all of a sudden. Nah, I gave him this Trans Am lip. So this was on like an 80s Trans Am, and apparently they fit the 740 chunks pretty well. And I hadn't actually tried it up until this point, and it looks like they do fit pretty good. It's like just the same width, pretty similar as far as that goes. So really close as far as fitting on the Volvo trunk. And I don't know, let's take a look from back here. I kind of dig it. It honestly, it looks a lot like the stock 740 spoilers that you can get. They didn't really come on too many cars in Canada and USA, but I think I've seen them on your guys' cars in Sweden quite a bit. So I don't know, I'm pretty happy with that. Scott, how do you think that looks? Yeah, I think we're gonna paint it red, and then we're also gonna color match Scott's bumpers red, and he's obviously planning on getting new wheels. He actually just got these tires. He's gonna put on these wheels actually. Yeah, there they are. So that should look good. They're 17s, a little bigger than I usually run, but I think they're still gonna look pretty sweet. So yeah, Turbo Scott's car, Miss Puff and Miss Huff. Look at that, the twins. Red manual, 90 sedans. It's like a dream come true, man. Yeah. Alright guys, so for a second part of this video, Josh hasn't made his way around yet, so I haven't been able to film his car. We just found out on Scott's car that his strut rod bushings are awful. So if you guys don't know what a strut rod bushing is, it's the bushing that basically goes into your control arm with that rod that comes from the back of the car that meets kind of halfway through the control arm. Those bushings are really common on a 740 to get really bad, and I've actually never seen some this bad, but Scott's are horrible. Let's go around to this side. So if you look, if he goes forward and brakes, you'll see how much this moves. Go again. Yeah, you can see that moving in that wheel well. It's moving back and forth this way. So we're gonna jack it up and we're gonna do a little strut rod replacement. I have done a video on this before, but that was a long time ago, and we're doing it now, so we may as well kind of do another one. I'll show you guys how it's done. Yeah, this is gonna make Scott's car feel a lot better. You can't really see it in the video on the GoPro, but it's really bad in person here. So yeah, we're gonna jack it up and get this all done. Alrighty, so your strut rod is this big rod that goes to the back there through the control arm. This is the strut rod bushing. So there's this rubber bushing in here. I can already feel Scott's. It's pretty old and worn. That's gonna actually probably have a hard time coming out. It's probably gonna be seized in there to an extent. So literally all you do is take the 17 mil bolt out, so that threads into the front of the strut rod. Then it's just basically this 21 millimeter nut, and then there's a bolt that goes all the way through. So it's held in there really simple, just two mounting parts to it. And yeah, so we're gonna impact that 21. We might need to get a wrench on the back one, which I believe is a 17. It's actually not very big. Yeah, whatever, you guys can figure that out yourself. This one's a 21 though, I know. So yeah, we're gonna impact that off, and hopefully it comes all the way off, and then hammer that bolt through, and then our strut rod should just pull out of the bottom essentially. So all right guys, so we just got our, oh, this strut rod is bent for one. Was this the side that we fucked up? No. Oh, okay, well this strut rod's a little bent, so that's not optimal. So we should put a new one in there, or just try to bend this one. But so if you guys look, there's our strut rod bushing. There's half of it left in here, and I'm pushing the other half out the back here. Oh yeah, there's right in there. So as you can see, that's kind of seized in there. The actual middle metal part of it just fell right out. The old bushing is in horrible shape, so we're gonna put these new IPD strut rod bushings in. So these are key. They're really cheaply priced. IPD's got you covered. IPD should be paying me to represent all their parts here, because I use them in like all my cars. But yeah, no, honestly, these strut rod bushings are like one of the first things you should do when you buy a 740. As you can tell, Scott's car definitely needed them. This is gonna make his car feel a lot better. His toe, when he's braking, that control arm moving like that is not what you want. So yeah, I'm stoked to throw these new ones in, see how it feels. So the old bearings seem to be kind of a pain in the ass, actually. They were like right in there. So what we had to do is take a torch and we just fired it up and then got it all crispy, and then we scraped it out with a flathead screwdriver. So yeah, now we're ready to put the new bushings in. Pretty simple, obviously. You guys can, you know how this is done. It just fucking goes in like that, basically. You still want to keep this metal sleeve in there. So that, and then you throw the strut rod in. You might have to assemble it a little differently than I just did right there, but yeah, so we're gonna put it all back together. Really nothing to it, super simple, and this is gonna give Scott's car a huge difference, and especially with bushings that were that worn. He's gonna be able to feel it when he's driving it for sure. So we'll do that, and then we'll see if this wheel still moves. All right, guys. So I got my friend Josh here. He has arrived with his wagon.
What's up?
Yeah, he picked up this thing, so he brought it back into the crew. So you guys may remember this car from a while back. I used to do a couple of videos with it. Like, I've had a couple of videos up from it. But this thing, it's been through a couple owners now, and it's made its way back into the Drifts and Lifts fam. So we put a little Turbo Smart manual boost controller on it, and it's got really shitty engine mount, so that needs to be dealt with eventually, but instead we just put this ratchet strap here, so now it's nice and tight. Good to go. So yeah, it's pretty much just a bone stock turbo manual wagon with a welded diff and a straight pipe. It's more or less like the most budget way you can do it. Yeah, Josh got a pretty good deal on this car. You know, he got it back for a fair price. So we're actually gonna go cruise to Washington right now, and we're gonna hop over the border and go do some drifts, and yeah, we'll fucking see how this old thing does. Should be fun. It's got a welded diff. It's basically ready to drift, eh, Josh?
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, good to go. All right, so we're gonna head down there, across the border. We'll see you guys when we get there. Let's try it. Shout out to Cameron, the kid that sold Josh this wagon. He actually kept it in pretty nice shape, which is kind of cool. A lot of the time people always mess things up, and Cameron actually liked this car and he treated it with like some sort of care. So thanks Cameron for that. Yeah, we're gonna go do some drifts. Thing's pretty nice. It's alright, does the trick. Yeah. I love like how much space behind you have in a wagon. It's like, holy fuck. Yeah. Alright, wagon drift. Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw that. So Josh was getting pretty bad wheel hop there. We've had that problem before in a lot of our cars, and usually it only happens when you have spacers on the back, but it seems like he's getting a bit of it, so I'm not too sure.
Dancer.
Yeah. Alright guys, so unfortunately Josh's car is having a bit of a wheel hop issue. I've had that issue a bunch of times and I haven't really found the solution. Usually going stiffer springs will help. The reason that happens is the torque rod bushings have a lot of play in them, as well as the bushings of the trailing arm, I believe it's called, the ones that come up to the front. So yeah, we'll figure that out. In the past, I put on different wheels and tires, and sometimes that solves it. Anytime I've ran like spacers and wheels, like on the back of Goldie right now, I've always found that gave me the worst wheel hop. And anytime I ran stock wheels, it usually it sorted itself out. So I'm not too sure. We're gonna get that all good. Josh is gonna be coming out and drifting with us. We're hoping to have an all Volvo day up at Penticton pretty soon here. So that means we're gonna rent out the track just for strictly 740s. It's gonna be pretty funny. Sorry, no Nissan guys can come. Only Volvos. So anyways guys, that's basically a wrap up of the video. We are just prepping for DUI this weekend, so I'm not gonna really get out too many videos in the next little while. That's this weekend, so I'm gonna be making a huge video of that whole event. It's gonna be awesome. I got my GoPro now, I got the suction cup mount, and there's gonna be Volvo parties for days. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Make sure you check out the Drifts and Lifts store if you want your Volvo Drift Pilsner, Ale, Volvo Drift beer merchandise. You can get to the store. The link is in the description of this video right here. So yeah, check it out. Good way to support the channel, as I always need more funds to build these Volvos. So anyways, thanks for watching guys. Like and subscribe for hairy Volvo muffs. Peace out.